Today's gonna be a bit of a different style of video because first of all, I'm standing up, and second of all, I wanna share with you how I went from basically a freelancer in college to now owning Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency where we actively manage over 10 brands that we've helped, scale to over $1 million, like this jewelry brand that I shared on the channel a few weeks back, and how I'm now managing essentially a team of 7 in-house employees. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin and I'm the founder of Wizo Media, which, as I just mentioned, we're an e-commerce marketing agency based in Canada, and we help thriving brands grow by simplifying their growth process. So I'm gonna share a little bit of the personal side to begin with, because it began with just a one-man team with myself. My first real entrepreneurship venture, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I would probably have to ask around with my family, but from what I remember, it was in 2013, essentially, when I first started making YouTube videos. I posted my first YouTube video back in 2013, which was literally a Minecraft tutorial. That was me back then, just trying to make it on YouTube. I was seeing a bunch of huge creators, making awesome content on there, and I thought I could do the same. But I only posted one video and went ghost silent for the next 2 years, where back in 2015, in April of 2015, was the creation of this current channel right here, and I started posting almost daily gaming videos on the platform. And I did that for a few years. Definitely started posting a lot of content for years. And this is basically what got me started in wanting to have, again, my own business, and wanting to get out, I guess, from this traditional work path. So in 2015/2016, I started freelancing. Again, I was a young YouTuber in my last years of high school, and I wanted to freelance, first of all, for myself. Honestly, it was not even freelancing at the beginning. It was basically self-teaching myself Photoshop, Illustrator, video editing, and all these skills that I learned completely online at the beginning, just to help me create a better branding for my own channel. I started making myself a logo, then YouTube banners, overlays for when I was streaming. I started making myself these whole bunch of graphics, and I got pretty good at it, because eventually I started getting a lot of gigs within the gaming industry back then. Some friends, and then friends of friends, and then started getting known, especially on Twitter. Back in 2015, I had, again, people reaching out to me wanting to have their new YouTube banners or their YouTube graphic packs. That's basically what got me started. I started getting these few gigs on the gaming community, and did that again for a couple of years before doing a bit of a mix of video editing for YouTube people, as well as doing some graphics still for YouTube creators. And right around the same year, my father actually started his own consultancy business on the side, and I just decided to help him out. Essentially, we were talking together, and then he's like, well, you want to get better at graphic design? I need some graphic design again for my new company. How about, I pay you a little bit, and then you help me get some good branding? And that's what I did. I helped him out brand his company, make, business cards, make a whole lot of graphics pack for him. That was my first sort of business graphic design experience, right? Because in the past it was mostly for creators, and that's how I got into more of this corporate graphic design world through my father's business. So I started my degree in graphic and web design in 2018, and actually from there in 2020, I started thinking about the end of my studies. I was like, man, the end is coming soon. What am I gonna do with my life after that? I had absolutely no clue what I wanted to do. I was pretty confused. Honestly, my goal since I was a child was to get into a gaming company, was to work for, as an example, I'm from Montreal, and Ubisoft is a huge gaming company out here in Montreal. And I was like, let me try maybe and work for that company when I get out of school, because again, I love making YouTube videos. I was a pretty good graphic designer. I was a good video editor. I was getting, pretty good at 3D design too. And again, I was making a lot of YouTube videos on gaming. So I was like, why not mash all of that together and become a video game designer for a company like Ubisoft? But the more I was coming near the end of my studies, the less I was seeing myself actually do that. I was really sort of dreading the end, and I started freelancing a little more. I got more into, basically in September of 2020, that's where I started getting a few different gigs, again, from friends and families, and it kind of ignited the spark within me of that, well, this might be something I could actually do after college. So in October of 2020, I took the decision to launch a business. I started working on the business name, on the websites, the logos, basically everything to be able to launch the business. And luckily, again, I was a graphic designer and I was studying in graphic and web design. So I was able to do my own branding, our own website, and everything at the beginning. So I launched essentially in early December 2020, officially registered the company legally in the province of Quebec in Canada under the name of Wizo Media. And this is where I started getting more gigs under the name of Wizo Media. So from essentially the beginning of the year of 2021, we started getting a lot of gigs essentially in the graphic and web design space. And then the problem that occurred at that point was recurring revenue. Essentially, we had a lot of clients, but they were all leaving after a month because design projects are done pretty quick, right? They're essentially done within a couple of weeks max, right? Maybe 2 months top, you are done with your graphic design project. So you have to switch to something else. And it was a constant search for new clients, new partners, and then, me wanting to sustain team members in that aspect. I was working with a couple of contractors at that point. It was pretty hard, again, to try and keep the business alive and not having to rely on, all of these getting new clients every single month. And at the time, keep in mind, I was a full-time college student. I was also working 25 hours a week at Apple, and I was essentially trying to build a business. So as soon as the business revenue exceeded the Apple revenue, which for me, that happened in month 1. In January of 2021, the revenue of the business exceeded my Apple revenue. So I quit Apple back then. I quit Apple on February 6th of 2021 and started going, I would like to say, quote unquote, full time on the business. But once again, I was still a full-time student. So I was trying to balance both. And all the way up to April of 2021, which I had to do an internship while still being in college. So not only was I a college student, I had a full-time internship for a month, and I was trying to build a business. So that was pretty crazy times, honestly, back then. But nonetheless, we grew very rapidly again during these times. I honestly did not have a lot of life during these couple of weeks, but it was very fun. It was honestly an exciting time of my life. And looking back at it, it was so fun trying to build the company, during these first couple of months. It was scary, exciting, stressful, but all of these nice things all together. And then throughout essentially the summer and fall of 2021, this is where we started really getting more team members, right? So at first it was more contractors, then it became more full-time employees. And again, it started stacking up in terms of team members and client load, right? We started with about 3 brands under our belt that we were managing on a monthly basis. And then again, having new clients here and there for either one-time projects. There was a transition period where it was graphic design and marketing during that time. But then fully transitioned into marketing, and we were using at the time Facebook ads primarily as the mechanism to where we produced growth and pretty incredible results for e-commerce brands. And then I'm gonna do a little bit back and forth on the history, but in April of 2022, so just 2 months ago, we actually grew our first brand all the way up to $1 million. So we started working with that brand in April of 2021. So now it's been basically 14 months since we started working with them. And when we first started working with them, they told us that, hey, our goal is to reach the $1 million a year mark. And for them, obviously a year starts from January 1st and ends on December 31st. And in basically the first year that we worked together, which is basically the first 8 months, right? The first actually calendar year that we were working together, they reached almost $900,000. It was the closest they've ever been to the $1 million mark. But we kept growing them so much in Q1 and Q2 of 2022 that on April of 2022 was the first time in a year period, in a 365 days period, that they hit the $1 million mark. And from that point, there's a video on the channel detailing that, where we were responsible for 44% of their revenue over the last years. That was a pretty nice story. Again, our first brand that we hit over the year mark working with them, and the first brand that we surpassed the $1 million mark with them while being responsible for a huge chunk of their business. And then that's where I said I'm gonna go back in time, because last summer we started diversifying a little bit the ad channels that we were working with. We went from Facebook and already, again, we kind of started doing Facebook more heavily right in the time when iOS 14 hit. So I was already trying to find some new ways of getting results for clients, and this is where we started integrating TikTok. So for a while, it was just Facebook and TikTok. Again, I think the first time we advertised on TikTok was in July or August of 2021 for one of our brands. And from there, we started adding Google and now Pinterest to the mix. So all the way up to this day, where we have brands pretty much on all of these channels simultaneously. We got brands on all 4 of these platforms. Some brands are only 2, but nonetheless, we've diversified our ad channels. And now we made the decision to change our flagship offer to TikTok ads, where not only do we do the TikTok advertising part, we provide the user-generated content for our brands and help them grow organically. So we change our mechanism for growth, still grow e-commerce brand, and still do all these other paid advertising platforms. Just our flagship offer has changed a little bit over the years. And it's crazy when you think about TikTok, because right now the stats are showing that it's basically there's less than 5% of all total e-commerce stores have a TikTok pixel installed on their website, whereas 50 to 55% of the stores have a Facebook pixel. So it's still like super untapped channel. A lot of brands have a lot of opportunities if they want to go on the platform. And again, that's why we made the switch to the platform now as our primary mechanism of acquiring these results and acquiring new customers for our brands. But at the end of the day, our purpose remains the same, which is still elevating thriving brands by simplifying their e-commerce growth process. So look, that's the story. That's how basically over the years, you can see it's not an overnight thing. It started quite a while ago where it was just some part-time freelancing on the side, and it started as a passion thing, right? I started doing it for myself at first, just out of pure fun, and then people started catching interest for the design work I was producing, got some gigs, got into college into that, wanted to pursue again, didn't know what I wanted to do afterwards, so I started doing more freelancing, created the company name for that, started working with contractors, started hiring some full-time people, and here we are, you know, a year and a half later than the registry dates for the official company, where again, we're now, at the time of recording this video, an in-house team of 7. Again, we're still working with a few contractors here and there for different roles within the agency, but an in-house team of 7 working with over 10 e-commerce brands at basically any given point and helping them grow to new heights, like that brand that I mentioned earlier where we got them, you know, above the $1 million mark in the past year. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this different style of video. And now, if you're an e-commerce brand or store owner watching this video, I invite you to click on the first link in the description down below to book in a very short demo call with our team. On that call, we'll take a look at your brand and see if you're a good fit for our e-commerce marketing program. And if that's the case, we'll help you grow through paid advertising or our TikTok marketing program. And if not, and worst comes to worst, we'll leave you with a free action plan to implement on your own. On that note, make sure you check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.